Hi, I'm Elwyn Davis from Pixelhaze Academy, and recently we have been working with Pixel, another company with great taste in names, to deliver a partnership program that will enable us to help you create microsites using the Pixel platform. If you've been working with the Pixel platform recently, you'll know that there is now a feature to create microsites. This is great for creating small one-page websites, landing pages, temporary holding sites, and also exciting opportunities to create multiple link trees. If you've got a social media presence, we can send your visitors to one location where it'll have all of the links for affiliates, for partners, and for key products or services that you offer all in one place. And we'd like to provide you with this introductory optional service where we as the Pixelhaze team can enable you to create your own custom microsite. We will work with you directly over a 50-minute session to create your first link tree, microsite, or temporary landing page that matches up with your overarching style and will ensure that all of the main boxes are ticked so that you can make an impact first time. This offer is first come, first serve, as we can only create 15 of these websites per month. And if you're interested in finding out more, follow the link in the description. To give you a glimpse of how it works, I'm now going to give you an overview of how this all slots together and the entire process of how we at Pixelhaze create microsites. Let's go take a look. This time out, we're going to create beautiful backdrops for our microsites. So we've got two different websites here as examples. We're going to change this up a little bit. And we're going to click on pick a template, and we can choose one of these starting templates here. So I'm going to create another link tree, and I think this would be quite nice to add this one here. It's going to look very different because it's going to be for an online course on the hosting a website builder. We've got these images here that form part of the buttons, and that's the effect that I wanted to apply. We're going to add it to customize this by using images in Canva, and I'll explain what we can do for free in Canva and what might be additional cost. In fact, you can do it all for free. It just depends on how much time you want to put in and whether that's worth the trade-off. I deliberately picked a template that looks nothing like our final landing page will look like. And I'm going to start changing some of the basics, like the font. I'm going to try and change this to Sora if I can find it. And we'll be changing all of the color of this. We can see the shape here, which forms a nice effect. We might do something similar to that later, but for now, we're just going to keep this really simple. I'm going to remove this particular option, but I'm going to leave these in because we're going to use these as a starting point, or at least one of these for our template for our button. So I'm really stripping it back to the bare bones. We'll leave our social media links in the bottom. And we then are going to spend the rest of this tutorial focusing on this background. And that's our starting point. Now we're going to jump across to Canva. What I'm going to do now is create a desktop background. So create a design, and I'm going to create it as a presentation, 16 by 9, 1920 by 1080. That should be plenty big enough for what we're looking to achieve here and get the balance between scale and impact. I'm going to upload the image, and it'll be this one here, just so we can color match the backdrop. I'm going to try and add this directly to the design. So all we want at the moment is a backdrop that can scale either side. The reason I'm not going for just a solid color will be apparent shortly. I'm going to go for the background color, go for the color picker. So as I said, we could have just taken that background color, grabbed the hexadecimal value and copy it, then headed back over to our site and then select the color section and Control V. And that means that it should color match with the image when we upload it. If I select media, add image, align it, and we can remove the border and upload the image that we downloaded previously. Okay, not terrible, but not amazing either. So we're just aligning that to the center, and it allows us to put our title in, change the color to match. We can reduce the size of the bounding box and keep that text centrally aligned, and we can go into our font option here and just bring our size down either manually using the arrows, or we can change the number in that bounded box. I can select the text now and go to color, change that text color to white. I just realized this is actually for Squarespace, so not Hostinger. Better change that. So I could put Squarespace box of tricks. in for that heading. Then I want to bring in my link tree below, but I'd ideally like a way of just finishing off this section here. So if I was to add a shape, we can see loads of different options that we can add in completely free within the tool. So we could do something a bit different using futuristic styles here, or we can keep it incredibly simple. So for example, we've got this option here. We can stretch it then using the bounding box if we wanted to create our own styles. But in our case, we're going to keep it really simple. I'm going to create a rectangle, and I'm just going to shorten it so it becomes a slightly chunkier line. I'm going to extend that then so it's the same both sides. I think I'm going to make it even thinner again and change our line color to white. That just creates a nice little frame at the bottom of that image before we bring in our content. Because we're talking box of tricks and therefore boxy layout, I've just removed the border radius on the button, meaning that we've got something similar to a 4:3 ratio here, and then the title. And what I'm going to do now is just change the font, and we're going to align it to the left. By pressing Control and C and then Control and V to paste, or Command and C, Command and V on a Mac, we can then duplicate the button and go for nice even spacing between each button. So say for example our link tree had 4 buttons. We could change those, and then on an individual case-by-case basis we can change the images in each button. But we've got a template now that works. However, I should have selected Animate and Hover on every single one. One thing I haven't tried yet is if we can select 2, and can we apply it to 2 different, and we can. So if we forgot to use the animation to start with, we can toggle it on and off by selecting multiple elements and then applying that effect. Okay, it's starting to take shape. For our social icons, we can change it. And like again, I can go back to our website, use the eyedropper tool, Colorzilla in our case, which is a Google Chrome extension, and copy the other brand colors from the site. And as we jump back then, we can use this navy color, and now we have our styling all matching the site. But because the main focus of this particular tutorial was to look at the background images, we're going to jump back over to Canva and add some more elements that tie in with our island theme, just sitting off in the areas when we're viewing on desktop view, so it all ties into the same overarching theme. We can now remove this island because we've got the background color to match, and we're going to go to Uploads, and I've got a folder here that has some of our art styles that we've used in the past. And I think for me, I'm just going to go for this pixelated style here for the backdrop and start bringing in various elements. So we've got this type of effect here with multiple elements ideally floating in the water. And I might be able just to extract the blue background off this so we can still use these effectively, because I don't think I've got every one of these elements that have been illustrated. And there we have it. Some of these look a bit grayed out with the water, but we'll go with that for now. And if I wanted to split this up into multiple images, I can just duplicate them, Control-C, Control-V, and double click on the frame, and then I can just select the section. So this is a bit of a hack, a little bit of a workaround, but it can work. And then what we can do then is adjust the highlights just so that they look a little bit lighter. They don't look so grey on the backgrounds, and then we can start building our backdrop. What we are doing though is we're keeping this middle section completely clear because we want the focus to be on the web content for that. Just a case of duplicating now, double clicking on it to change the frame, and save us having to go and upload these as all individual assets, which is the best way of doing it, but it's also the most time consuming. I'm just going to take a minute now just to take some of these elements and move them around the outside. So I'm keeping that middle section completely clear. We're having these as just a little bit of decoration on the outside on desktop view. What I can do now is just go through and adjust the highlights on each of these. Make it a little bit brighter. We're kind of mixing themes here a little bit as well in the design, but just wanted to show you something a bit different. So now we've got all of that, we can go and download this image. And I can go for a PNG file. We're going to try and compress it so we get a lower file size. And this is where the export option is only available to paid members of Canva. Some of the more advanced options like image compression and transparent background, you would need a paid version of Canva to create that effect. But now I'm downloading the PNG file. And now we can jump back into Pixel Studio and we're going to upload a background image. Should be available in our downloads option. And there we have it. So a very different looking backdrop. Now it's a case of just going through and fine tuning, creating icons for each of these. And if you're wondering where you can find and add these buttons for yourself, if we go to the card options here, we can see a wide array of styles that match this overarching theme. Once we've added in those cards, we can go onto the border setting and we can customize the radius. So we can go anything from straight square edge to a fully rounded pill shape. So there's a bit of formatting here that can be done. We can also go in and change the font for each of these options as well. Bear in mind, it's well worth spending your time on the first section to get the overarching theme that you're looking for, and then duplicate it for the other buttons or cards as they're shown in this design. So I've got 4 here already made. And what we're going to do is jump over to Canva and we're going to create icons to go in each of these areas. So first of all, I want to make sure I color pick that background and I'm using ColorZilla. ColorZilla is a free Google Chrome extension that allows us to color pick from any website. We can then jump over to Canva and with that color saved to the clipboard, we're going to create a new custom size image. And we're going to go with 250 by 250 and create our new design ready. We're now going to change the background to, you may have guessed it, that background color that I've just copied to the clipboard. Now we've got our background for our button. And if we jump back to Pixel Studio, we can see it's going to slot into this section here. It's a square image. Doesn't matter if there's a little bit of overhang above and below. That's absolutely fine. I'll probably create a Introduction to Squarespace course. 30% off the full course. And then Squarespace 30% voucher code. And finally, schedule a one-to-one. So we've got 4 key call to actions. Some of them I will need to go through and basically create a landing page for some of these areas. So they go through to our site with the offer ready to go to purchase that course. But I'm not going to worry about the links for now. If we go to behaviors, we can enter our link in that section there. Okay, so we've got our 4 buttons ready to go. The spacing's okay. I could reduce the font size if they're getting a little bit too close to the edge. And that's something I may consider doing. Just dropping them all down to 14. I like to have them nice and consistent so we don't have different size text in different buttons. May have just nudged the button down there accidentally. So I'll just check that for spacing in just a moment. There we go. Just nudged it back up into position. 4 evenly spaced buttons that are ready for an image. And I'm just going to check that the behavior has animate on hover. So it just pops a little bit when we hover over it when viewing this on desktop view. Now I'm going to head over to our new design here. And I'm going to take into account now what each of these are, and we're going to go to Elements. Now this requires the paid version of Canva to be able to use and export graphics without any watermarks. There will be some graphics available for free, but it is slim pickings. So if I look at Course, for these icons, I think we're going to keep it nice and simple and just have our icon centrally aligned. Bear in mind, we don't want it too near the top or bottom because it's going to crop it off. And that's what I'm going to go with. And so what I'm going to do now is not duplicate this yet. I'm going to then look for the remaining 3 icons and drop them into place and duplicate one at a time. If that sounds confusing, I'll show you in just a sec. So I think I have uploaded Squarespace logo in the past. So if I go to Uploads and then do a search for Squarespace, hopefully I named it correctly as well. Okay, that's an older version of the Squarespace logo, but we'll go with that. Because it's a little bit narrower, I'm going to allow it to be a little bit higher as well, so it looks roughly the same size overall. And because this isn't a vector image, it was an uploaded PNG file, I can go into Edit Photo, and then there's a little trick in Canva that works really nicely. So if I can find it, duotone effect, and this duotone effect, and I'm going to go for like pop color here. And there we go. By changing both of those colors to white, it doesn't really matter what color you choose with the duotone effect. It then creates a white image. Now it's a case of rinse and repeat, get rid of the original logo and get rid of the second logo there. Now I'm going to do exactly the same here. Go back to the first one and create the next icon. I think I'm going to use that for the discount code. And then what I'm going to do then is search for video call as an icon for the one-to-one. Similar icon set in terms of theme, so that they feel like they're part of an overarching set. Just move that out of the way, get rid of the old one, and then just bring it back into central alignment. Same for this one now. I believe we're looking at Introduction to Squarespace. Maybe I'll go for pacifier icon. Okay, there we go. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4 different icons that we can add into our buttons, but first we need to download them. I'm going to go to Share, Download, and this time I'm going to download them all together so we can see all pages. For PNG file, we don't want a transparent background because we've deliberately put these on the colored backdrops. So now let's press Download. I could have gone through and named them, and probably in hindsight that would have been a smart thing to do. What I can do now is for each of these is go to the image option, and because I've already unzipped that folder, we can now select our first image. To place it nicely in the middle, we can move to the next design and repeat the process. And because we created all of these icons in one fell swoop, it should make it nice and easy to update and nice and quick. Okay, so there's our link tree. We need to hook up the links, which is our final step. And I'm probably going to put in an introduction that's probably a little bit smaller than this. I think I'll just go for courses and discounts. There we go. Let's come back again now. I'm going to reduce the line height. And we're going to do one final thing. And that is move these up, the social media icons up as well. And we'll populate them properly. And we're going to add in the Pixelhaze Academy logo here at the bottom of the page. I'm going to add an image or media. Position our image. I'm going to make it as narrow as I can. And there we are. About that size is what I'm going to go for. Get rid of the border. And then replace the image. I think I've got one in my downloads folder ready to go. I believe it's this one. It's actually a white logo. Because it's on a transparent background, it previews it on a Mac as white. So that's why we couldn't see it there. There we go. I'm not sure why it was showing part of the photo, but just by moving it around a little bit, it's fixed that particular issue. And there we have it. Hope you've been able to follow this nice and easy. It just shows how we can take the standard card buttons here and turn them into wholly unique, bespoke designs that match our overarching link tree. I can save this. And finally, let's have a quick preview and see how that looks. There we go. This is the section in mobile. We can see there's a nice hover effect on the button. And we'll be able to add links shortly. And we can switch to desktop view and we bring in this background image that we created in a previous tutorial into play. This becomes a really nice microsite, LinkTree, or landing page, and it's all available within Pixel Studio. I've left links in the description. Go in, have a play with it, and if you're interested in finding out more about it, please use our affiliate link because it helps us to create more free content like this. I'll catch you next time.